Here I am. I forgot to turn off set the settings so that it wasn't coming out my speakers, and I might get a little bit of feedback from that. At any rate, I just wanted to welcome in everybody to our training room where we're going to learn a little bit about advocacy training for parents. And I see that our friend Emily has entered the waiting room. I'm going to let her in. Here we go. Oh, I hope I did. Yeah, there she is. You're muted, Emily. If you want to come and join in on this, is good. You can stay off screen if you like, if your hair is messy.
Yeah, it is a little. It's the end of the day.
So here we are. This is the first time I've tried doing this. I've been in other meetings before, but this is the first time I've tried to do a kind of a training session for parents about advocating for your own kids in the school system. I sent out a pretty bleak message today to our Norfolk Citizens for Common Sense, or what is that called now?
Yep, you
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah, good. I was going to say candidates, and we're not candidates anymore.
No.
At any rate, I attended the school board meeting last night for the public school with our friend Maria, and well, you can read what I said. I don't want to repeat
Well,
it
I
here.
did, yeah. So that came disappointing, you know.
Well, yes, it is disappointing. But today I want to offer people a little bit of excuse me, I'm choking on that lozenge. Excuse me. A little bit of hope in the sphere of influence that you can have in your family, in your community, in your local school board. What is very obvious is that the United Nations is the key driver for most of the information that is coming through school boards and through teacher unions and through teacher training centers to eliminate all other agendas and promote only theirs. And for people of faith, particularly Christian faith, this is a very concerning, how shall I say it? It's very concerning because, of course, they want to wipe out individuality. They want to wipe out Christianity. And they may not ever really say that, but that's what the foundational documents of their United Nations religious views are, and anybody can go and read that for themselves. All you have to do is go to the United Nations website, and there you be. Oh, we've got a new friend coming in. Here comes Annika. Oh, and Annika, I just wanted to let you know that we are recording. You can go on screen or stay off screen if you like. You can participate as much as you like. I was just remarking to Emily that visiting with the school at the school board was a little bit depressing for me, and I'm a little bit thankful that I didn't get the job sitting in, because I would find working under the constraints and the propaganda of the United Nations very I would find that oppressive to my soul. The point of them is not to raise conscientious individuals, but to raise up global citizens under their rubric, not under the banner of liberty. Of liberty.
Mom.
Hi. You're being recorded. Okay, so anyway, with all of that being said, I wanted to welcome everybody to this live stream, this recorded session. I'm going to put it up on YouTube for other people to take advantage of. So what I wanted to do first was to really help people understand the spheres of their own authority. And So the spheres of your own authority as parents, because I think that some things have happened in, you want to mute yourself there for a minute? Okay. Anyway, sorry, I muted. um, the spheres of your own authority. And the only way I can describe it is by the authority that has been created. In other words, we have a maker, the maker who made the world, and he is in authority over all things. So that's a beautiful thing. When things seem to be out of control, they aren't, because when you read the instruction manual, which is the instructions before leaving Earth, that he's given us, you know that there's a plan, and his plan won't be thwarted. Particularly if you've studied any of the prophecy. Currently, I'm studying Isaiah, and yeah. Anyway, so God has things under control, and He is in authority over everything, over kings, over humans, over the weather, over everything, absolutely everything, and we need to trust Him in that. But there are spheres of authority that are given to us. And the first authority is the family, in which the parents have authority over the creations that God gave them, which is their children. And that authority brings responsibility for caring for them, nurturing them, helping them grow into the gifts that they have, and to grow up to be good and righteous people, and to educate them as well. Under the authority, God also gave the authority of kings and prime ministers and civil authorities, and those are their own spheres of authority for the orderly conducting of human society. And the spheres of authority that are given by kings do not usurp the authority of parents when it comes to raising your children in the manner in which you are led by God. Anyway, all of that to say that things have gotten topsy-turvy in our world, and they've gotten progressively topsy-turvy, so that some concerning things came out in Ontario in the last couple of weeks that had parents absolutely reeling and asking for help. And so if you've been following the email blast list that I have, I sent several things for you to take action on, because it is one thing to be concerned about something, to be freaked out, to be cross, to be totally outraged, whatever, and then just moan about it on social media. And it's another thing to take matters in hand. And the goal of these sessions is to give you the strength of spirit, of heart, of mind, to do what you know is right for your own kids, to stand up for them, to protect them from evil, and to make sure that they get educated in the things of importance. Especially when we send them to school, we want them to learn reading, writing, and arithmetic, and to be prepared for their future life in that. So it was as a result of the parents contacting me in absolute frustration. And the issue was the census that the school boards, the Ministry of Education, and through the school boards sent down to parents and children to ask them to reveal private information concerning their personal life and their family, their religious views, and their purported sexual preferences. So what I want to do here is I want to show you how to well, I think that there's been a lack in how to communicate with people who are in authority over us so that we can be heard. So what are your thoughts so far here, Emily? You want to click in and add something in? I was hoping this would be an interactive session, but a little bit more with, yeah, discussion on the matter. So I take it that was pretty concerning to you, having that survey sent home.
Yes, and I have not read the survey yet myself from my daughter's school. For whatever reason, I couldn't open it on my phone, and uh, I will be sharing what that says anyway. I
Yeah,
just like to see what the difference is between the public schools versus the Catholic schools,
yeah.
because
Hmm.
the parent information session that I attended from the Catholic school board about the survey, so prior to them coming out, it was that they were going to ensure that it had a world Catholic view.
Okay, so
Whatever
from what I'm understanding about that, there are there's more than one opinion on what that world Catholic view is.
exactly.
And so I'm thinking that you're probably thinking that it is defined as what would have been a traditional Catholic view. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Yes, but that's not necessarily what.
And I
Uh,
think it's clever wording, the
mhm.
world Catholic view. So I think it's clever how they said that in the meeting. So yeah, I will share what that survey revealed.
Mhm.
Because I'm not gonna fill it out, but I'm gonna
Well,
read it anyway.
anyway, so and that's a good point. I wanted to just say that right out. When I read whatever a parent said, sent to me, forwarded to me, that came from their school, and I looked at that and I told the parent, just say no and tell your children to say no.
No,
When I was in school, okay, so this is dating me, but there was no such thing as social insurance numbers when I was in elementary school. And those things came about when I was in high school. So that was in the 70s. All right. And they told us we're not to share our social insurance number with anybody except the employer, and only after you get the job. And that the purpose of the social insurance number was for income tax. It wasn't for data mining by anybody else. So when my children were in school, when they got their social insurance numbers, I strongly told them, don't share this number with anybody. It's only for employment purposes. But they were going, ho ho, it's but and so many people have given over their privacy, either through lack of knowledge, lack of instruction, or because they didn't think it was important. But it is important. We ought not to be sharing private information with anybody. Um, and really, our medical information is private. Our religious information is private. It's none of anybody's business. It's not the government's business. And it's not the school's business. So, uh, anyway, that is that. If you are okay, so I want you all to trust your gut. If you think something is wrong and you feel you are being pressured, because I think that was another tactic that was used, don't you? Um,
oh, absolutely. They're calling us every day to remind us about the survey. It's an automated message, it's a robot sounding voice, but they are reminding us every single day something came home in the backpack. There's emails. I've my husband's gotten an email. So they're not just calling me, they're calling him too. So they're
mhm.
bombarding you. The pressure is there, although it's completely voluntary, but we're gonna
Yes.
remind you every day until you do it.
Yes. And from what I understood from some of the parents in the public board, uh, they sent the letter home on a Tuesday and wanted it filled out by the Friday, but the Friday was a PA day. And so
Hmm.
it was a time crunch pressure that they were putting on. And that tactic of pressure, if you feel pressured to do something, just say no. It's the same. Okay, so it's here, you and I are here, Emily, woman to woman. If we were getting unwanted advances by somebody, you know hitting on us, we would just say no. that's the whole standard. When you feel uncomfortable and you don't want to, you feel pressured, just say no. And I feel that this kind of tactic by the Ministry of Education through the school boards and the schools has just been egregious. Now, if you're on my mailing list, you would have got several things, several actionable items that you could do, that you could make a phone call, that there was even a script. Okay, so we're going to get to that now, okay? But first I need to make a little bit of understanding for everybody. And I've got some websites up here on my desktop, and I plan to do some screen sharing. I'm not really expert at it yet, but we're going to do our best. Okay, so we have to understand in our minds who is responsible for what. Now, I'm sorry, I did not look this up on the Catholic School Board website, but I do. I'm sure it's going to have similar things in it as the Public School Board website. And for those of you who are watching this at any other time, I'm talking about the Grand-Erie District School Board, and that's the region that we are in right now and we're talking about. But if you are watching this somewhere else, you just go to your own region's school board and you can find similar things. It won't look exactly the same because everybody designs their website differently, and you have to learn to get, find your way around it. So I'm going to try this here. First I want to get it up so that it's in the right place. Okay. Now I have to find where my screen share thing is. Sorry, my desk is a little messy here. Okay, share the screen. And I want you to look at this one. Okay. Share. Okay, so how's that look? You got the website and you can see my cursor here. So here is where we go when we click in. We search grand-erie.ca. Now yours would be a different one. I could probably bring it up if you tell me what it is. It is the
Brant, Haldimand, Norfolk. It's like the short form.
Yes, there it is. Gotcha. So here is the Brant, Haldimand, Norfolk School Board, Catholic School Board. All right. Now I'm going back to the Grand-Erie here because you need to find your way around. And I think I showed this on a video on my already up on YouTube. How you negotiate your way around this. There's a place now. Hang on a second here. So there's a contact page. There's a process by which you go through. Oh, darn. I wish I had athletics. There's a process that you go through at the school in order to get conflicts resolved. The first thing, there's a flow chart to it here somewhere. I'm going to see if I can find a flow. Oh, is there a rats? I had it up here earlier and I can't find it. Family supports. If you have a problem, maybe it's a publication. If you have a problem, oh no, it's not this. Policies, procedures, and protocols might be there. Anyway, if you have a problem in your school, you have to decide whether it has to do with your class, something in the classroom, or whether it's a general school problem or what it is. And then you go to the person directly that is in charge of that. If it's a classroom problem, you go to the teacher and you discuss the problem with the teacher. It's best to do that in person. Although I have to say, I know I'm doing this YouTube thing here or this video thing, this Zoom, but I am really a shy person inside my heart. And to actually think I'm going to go to talk to anybody about anything that's a problem is a terrifying experience for me. So I can appreciate that. But that's what you have to do. You have to go to the teacher. Okay, okay. I'm just not finding what I'm looking for here. So I'm going to stop this share. Anyway, you have to go to the person responsible first. if your problem gets settled there, then fine and dandy, it's settled. But if it isn't, then you go to the principal. If it's not getting settled there, then you go to the school board trustees, and they try and settle it. Okay. So that is a school advocacy thing. But part of the thing that we don't understand probably is that schools don't act just on their own initiative. They are given directives by the Ministry of Education, which is a provincial jurisdiction. So in every province, I don't know if it will be called the Ministry of Education in every province, but in Ontario it is. And so what I want to just break down for you a little bit is understanding the levels of government and going to the right person with the right question. If, for example, if you're going to complain about the prime minister, you don't go to your mayor of your town or council person. You go to the office of that it's appropriate to. So let me just show you what I wanted. I'm going to put links to this so everybody can negotiate themselves, and you can ask me questions about later. So, okay, so let's start with local government. Local government for us, where we are living, is mayor and council. And the council members are representative of the people in their town or township or whatever it is. Like in our case, it's Waterford. In your case, it's Delhi, could be Simcoe. And there are council members. And those are the people that you speak to about issues that are going on in your community. And I'm going to share screen again here because I've got this up. So here's our website for Norfolk County in Ontario. And you can go to, you just go to Norfolk County there, and you can get all kinds of information. And I'm going to go back where I was, because the mayor and council. So they always have different links that you can find. These websites do get updated and changed. So here we are. This is how you contact your mayor. It might look different on somebody else's municipal website in Brantford, for example, or in Hagersville or Cayuga or whatever. But here's how you need to know. So you need to know what ward you're in, who you call. But there's another thing. You see, there are also all of these, and I was at the meeting today, for example, and they were all volunteering to go on different committees that would handle different issues in our community. And so if you were having trouble with roads, you go to the person that was, involved with that, or I don't know, if it was accessibility, you'd go to that person who's on that committee. So you also look at committees. And I think they might update, because this is information now new, what committees they're on, so that you can see how that goes. Okay, so this is municipal. So this has to do with our local community, the municipal government. And you don't take school board things to your municipality, for example. Okay, so now the next step up is our, in Ontario, our members of the Ontario Legislative Assembly, the Legislative Assembly of Ontario. So the first person who is in charge of us is our member of provincial parliament, that is MPP. And here, when you go to this site, Ontario Legislative Assembly, OLA.org, I've got it up so that you can find your members, the MPPs. And you can find that in several ways. Now, for our purposes, I've had my special assistant make these into very easy copy and paste list. Sometimes they are, I'm going to show you the current MPPs. So here they are. And this is all in a table. But if you want to find out their contact information, you have to click on their thing, on their link with their name. It's really good to know what party they're in and what responsibilities they have. So I want to go to, that's the current members. But another thing that we need to know, both in provincial and in federal parliament, is who is in charge of what. So I'm clicking on the ministers here, and these are the people who are, you see, they have titles, what they're doing. They're the Minister of Finance or Long-Term Care or Legislative Affairs, Seniors and Accessibility, you see? And then you have somewhere, okay. So for example, if you had something that had to do that you were upset about happening in schools with your children, and you wanted to take it up the levels, you might go to whoever was in charge of children, community, and social services to let them know, but also definitely the Minister of Education, because that is their portfolio. That's their area of authority. You see, there's all kinds of different things in there. All right. So if you're not sure who your MPP is, now I'm speaking to you, Emily, and of course we know who she is, but you can find them here by their legislative office, their constituency office, which is the one that's local to you, or their ministry office. And you could even put in your address and find them. Here it shows you how many there are. So for example, if you wanted to make a point to the Minister of Education, you might write to the Minister of Education, but you also might write to the party members. Here's ours down here, an independent, but you might write to the party members who are more likely to espouse the same values and views as you. Also, 83 members is the majority, so it seems that that'd be a good thing to talk to your majority. The similar thing to find, or link to click if you're going to the Canadian Parliament, which is federal, and you understand that they have different responsibilities in the federal Canadian Parliament and the provincial parliaments. And fair enough, you should go to this link and click Learn About Parliament. In your finding out how our government works, you can find out who's in the House of Commons, who's on the Senate, and you find out what their responsibilities are and how our government works. Because it's not like the US government that we see on TV. Let's just say that. Okay, now I'm going to stop screen sharing, because one of the important things I learned when I was homeschooling our children was how to write letters to people in authority who could hear what the people say and take it into consideration. And the first thing that we have to understand as citizens, as constituents, as people in this country and in this province that we live in, is that we, regardless of how we feel about the governance or the people governing us, we must pay due respect to them in our correspondence, whether that is verbal correspondence, like on the street, or whether it is written correspondence or it's telephone or fax correspondence. And I wanted to bring that up for you, for the members of the current minister. So here I am, I'm back to Ontario site, and I'm going to show this to you again. Where's my screen share again? Keeps going away. Oh, there it is. Sorry. So here I am. I've gone back to the Legislative Assembly of Ontario, where we were. And each member of parliament has a role. If they're an MPP, you write to them as their name with MPP in behind it. But if they are in charge of a ministry called a minister, like the Minister of Finance, there are ways of honorable address that you use. So let's just go to, oh, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that person's name, but you can see here that there's a honorary title to this. So the Honorable Peter Bethlenfalvey. I'm sorry if I butchered that. Let's go to the Honorable Paul Calandra. Okay. And I noticed today when I was attending the council meeting for our local council that there are also proper address that's given to the mayor. And this sounds very odd, but they call the mayor your worship. Or if you're speaking to them directly, then you say mayor, whatever their name is. But when you're addressing these people, they're the honorable. So you see, the Honorable Doug Ford is the premier. He doesn't get any special title. But if I went over to Parliament and I looked at House of Commons, and then I went to members of Parliament. So you call the members of Parliament, you call them an MP, Member of Parliament. You can go here and see all the current members, but I wanted to show you back again with the party that is in power. Going to back space here. Oh, maybe I didn't want to do that. Key roles, let's just say that. So there are presiding officers and there are ministries. There are parliamentary secretaries, party leaders, and House officers. So I'm going to the ministry and I'm going to show you how it works. Regardless of what you think of the person, when you address them formally to be heard, you address them as the Right Honorable Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister. That's the proper way. If they hold a seat in the cabinet as a minister, they are called the Honorable. So this is the party in power. They're called the Honorable. You see, as I'm going down, the Honorable Minister of Agriculture and Agri-Food. So when we are about to write a letter or address the people that we want to hear us, we have to use that proper terminology. I know it seems foreign to us, but that is proper. Emily, am I boring you to tears?
No, it's actually helpful. Because yeah, I wouldn't have known to address them necessarily by those titles.
Yeah,
so.
like you don't write to the prime minister and say, "Hey, Justin," or "Dear Justin," and you don't say "dear" either. It's a more formal business letter that you write to them. And so I want to explain something to you and to our people out there in YouTube world and Facebook land. When I was taught to write good letters to advocate for good governance, particularly relating to homeschooling, we were given this thing to think about, outline in our mind to think about. Number one constituent who writes to their MP is representative of many others who don't write. And I can't tell you what the percentage is. It could be my one letter represents 10 other constituents. It could represent 100 other constituents. I'm not sure. But there is kind of a format that you are not just speaking for yourself, you're speaking for 10 other people. Let's say it's 10, because it could be your family, right? Your extended family. So think about the weight of that. If you write a well-written letter that is respectful and gets your point across, you're speaking for 10 more people, which has weight. And what we were told when we were being taught how to do this is that some of these offices are very, very busy. And every member of parliament, whether it's provincial or federal, has an assistant, an executive assistant, who takes in all their mail for them and reads it for them and passes it along and keeps track of, the calendar events and all of that kind of stuff, a regular assistant. And oftentimes what might happen is your letter would be sorted by that person who, opens the mail. And if it's a hot issue, it might be a pro, it might be a con. So they want to get through a pile of emails or a pile of letters or a pile of faxes or a pile of phone calls, right? And they want to know, is this person pro? Are they con? And essentially they sort it into two piles, pro and con. And whichever is higher, gets some more weight. But what will instantly get your email or letter or phone call or fax dumped in immediately into the trash is if you are rude in any way. So we want to always avoid being rude or being abrasive or threatening. Because those will never ever get the ear of our elected officials. And I must say that I sent quite long, in my view, it was a bit long, letter to our local MPP. And I was very pleased to get a very reasoned and thoughtful and concise answer to my correspondence. And that is quite rare. You often just get a thank you for your, thank you for your email. We'll take it into consideration kind of thing. If you get any answer back at all, just consider it a bonus, because sometimes you don't. Sometimes it depends on the person. Sometimes they ignore you. Or if, for example, you are not a party member and you're writing to somebody who's a member of a party and they don't feel that you have any weight because you're not a member of their organization, then unfortunately, that's the way it is. They should listen to all constituents, but that's what happens, okay? All right. So I think what I want to do is I'm 49 minutes into this anyway, the recording. I would like to take some time to actually go through a formal letter. But what I can say to you right now is it is fair enough to copy and paste. If someone who has written some really good words, that you copy and paste those words to your own correspondence. There's no sense in reinventing the wheel. That's what I did with mine. I just copied and paste. Sorry if you're watching this, MPP Brady. But some people have better words. They're better wordsmith, and you can just take it. But let's just say this for expediency's sake, that your subject line wants to tell what the subject is so that they know what it is. Like if you're sending an email, you put that in the subject line. My subject line was, please vote no to whatever the bill was. And then your first paragraph has to have the address of dignity in it, like honorable, whoever you are, MP or MPP, if that's who you're writing to. And then you want to make your point. You say why you're opposed to this, how it affects your family, and how you would like them to vote. And then always thank them for their service and that you appreciate their service at the end. So it can be very short and sweet, no more than 3 paragraphs, and always using the best, most respectful language that you have. But really, it's important to tell a person how it affects your family. This afternoon, while I was in council, there was a woman making a presentation about a development in our town, and she was having a problem with this. And she was very, very good at explaining in writing and then reading what she wrote, why this was concerning to her, how it appeared to go against the policies that were already in place, and how it affected her because it had to do with property, and how it affected the neighborhood, and ask them to change their plans. They're not bound to, but I thought that was a very good outline, and that's the outline that we were taught. Now, if you are in a position where you're sitting in a pub with your MP or your MPP, and you can have a good old jaw about it over a beer, buy the beer. Whatever, buy the coffee in the coffee shop. That's one thing. That's an informal setting where you sit and you chat with the people. And it's fair enough to remain respectful and use language that's dignified, because nobody wants to have their ears blistered. So in my view, I always think of it in biblical terms in a way, or maybe no, I'm going to say the King of England because I'm still thinking of the Queen. But anyway, you don't just waltz in there in your jeans and just, flap your gums. No. There's a protocol to everything. And if you follow the proper protocol, you're more likely to be heard and taken seriously. Okay. Anyway, so we're almost an hour here now. Emily, anything you wanted to chime in with? Any suggestions for how we could go forward with this session?
I think maybe, I don't know if obviously the census of the school boards is a hot issue right now. So
Yes,
I don't
yes.
know if we could draft up a letter like that to
Oh,
share
well,
with
there are.
them.
And actually, I made a telephone call.
Change.org or something, right? I think I
Yeah.
saw that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So this is the thing, that's very good that you said that, because there are these things. I sent out my own letters, and I invite anybody to copy and paste them. Change the words a little bit if you want. Delete what you don't find useful. Add what you think might be helpful. But I mean, sure, it might seem like a form letter, but it's better than no letter. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, even if you send a form letter to an official, it's better than no letter.
Yeah,
And
I
we
agree.
and part of it is, I think we have to get over our hesitancy to make ourselves heard. And that's what I really want to it, be encouraging of amongst us, is that we get more confident in ourselves, that we're not going to trip over our tongues, or if we trip over our tongues, we're not going to die of it. And to just practice speaking up for ourselves and our children. And yes, that whole issue of the student census has been very, very concerning. It was way out of bounds, for any government or any school to even consider this. And anybody who wants any more information or would like a template to send to officials in your school board or at your school, or the Ministry of Education, or the Ontario Public School Board Association, which, of course, these things get passed down. And then I would be happy to provide that. And because this is a public broadcast, let's just say, I would really prefer that people use my website. There's a form there that people can put it in, and that goes direct to my email, but it keeps a little bit of anonymity. If you want some help with a form letter or more information on how to do that, I will send you the emails, because of the people involved. Okay, the person, how you address them, the email involved, and I will help you that way. But now I must say that our MPP gave me really good advice. If this is a burning issue, and I want to say this because she's one of the things that she said to me when she responded to my letter was that they were in meetings about that very thing all week in Parliament. So she said it would be better to call your MPP. And so I actually called the Minister of Education and left a message. And fair enough, you leave a message and express I was even a little bit stumbly, and I read scripts all the time, but I just read what was on a letter that I had received to express, my opinion. And that's fair enough. And this way we get more and more confidence to speak up for our children, to speak up for our families, to speak up for ourselves, and not be bullied and pressured into accepting things that are utterly unacceptable. You don't have to accept what is unacceptable. You can say no on behalf of your family and yourself. So, is that a little bit more helpful, Emily?
Yeah, it is. And I think having like the templates and being able to distribute some of that, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe like a bullet points on like how to address over the phone if you do call. I think
Yes.
that is like a time saver.
Yes.
A lot of my friends, the other moms that I speak with, it's the time. They're like, well, where do you find the time? And so to them, they participate more if it's sort of laid out a little bit.
Yes. And that's what I've committed to do. I've committed to help young women. I've been committed to help young women most of my life, but I've committed to help you folks.
And then when they see that it's not so bad, or you do a couple and you get the hang of it, right?
Yeah.
Like it does empower you to, you're back in the driver's seat, taking charge
Yes.
of your own kids' education at this point.
Yes, indeed. Do you know, I'm not sure. I would meant to check this out before we came on air. I'm not sure if you can find out, or if it's confidential information, if you can find out who the teachers are at school, or if you would only know your own teacher, your own child's teacher's information to contact them. I'm not sure, but I'm going to do that. My assistant has made lists for me, and we are going to put them in a Google Doc so that, but I will even make it more easy. If we're writing to the Minister of Education, then his information will be there. You just copy and paste it into your own email. And, there's a lot of different suggested things that you could just copy and paste and sign. Oh, and I wanted to say as well, that this seems a little scary. It seemed a little scary to me, and it still seems a little scary to me, that when you write to a government official, you need to put your full name, where you live, and if possible, if you feel comfortable, your phone number, because that way they can contact you back. That's very helpful. I know it seems very odd. And if you are a party member and have paid your dues and you're in the party, you put that, you put that party, how do you say that? But there's a way to do that, you're a member of the Conservative Party or the Liberal Party or NDP. And then they listen to you in a different way. They have different filters. If you're a party member and you're writing to them on behalf of as a party member, that's very helpful. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to compile some websites that people can also click on to learn how to do this a little bit better, because I feel like we've spent an hour doing this and I still haven't really been all that explanatory, and I haven't had a lot of stuff for you to look at, and I haven't any documents to hand out. So I will have websites, and I will have some Google Docs that people can access, which you can just download onto your phone, or you can just copy and paste. I know that you girls use your phones more than your computers, but yeah. So we'll make it as easy as possible for you to do that. Fair enough?
It's really great. Thanks, Luann.
You're welcome. And I will post that also up on our Common Sense page there.
Yep.
And I think that it would be valuable as well for me to post that in the show notes of YouTube. So,
Yeah.
yeah, so that people can find that kind of information where I go for my information. And so you don't have to go digging, because I know you've got busy lives raising your kids.
Well,
And
that's
I,
really great.
and I
Thank you for
just,
taking the
you,
time.
you're welcome. So I'm not sure what topic I'll maybe try and tackle next time, but maybe it will be just a continuation of this. And if we get some more interest of people sitting in and chatting, about the situation, then more of me acting as a resource. And I just wanted to say to anybody who's watching this, you may remain anonymous with no picture. You could remain anonymous by changing your Zoom name. You don't have to come in here with your full name on, as Emily has, if you don't want to. And yes, you're welcome to join our group. We are, if you want to find out what we're doing, it is Norfolk Candidates for Citizens for Common Sense. We were candidates. And also, while we're there, I think I'd like to post up all of the helpful um, tools that we had while we were running as candidates for other people to access, because like I said, I don't like to reinvent the wheel. So if there's another website, another ministry, another organization that has good information, we'll put the links there too. Sound good?
Yep. And if it gets posted on the Facebook page, we can always pin it as an announcement so it stays at the top.
Very good.
I
Yeah.
think I did that with your video, explaining like if you have a complaint or an issue, and that
Yes.
flow chart, that video that you did, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's pinned to the top of the Facebook group. So,
Mm-hmm. I'll do my due diligence a little bit better next time, and I will look at those things in the Catholic board.
well, yeah, I haven't found a flow chart on their website, but I do click through it, and I am getting to know it better. Um, I'm yet to find the complaint process myself, though,
Yeah.
but I'm sure it's very similar.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I mean, these organizations work the same way, basically. Now, I may have made some errors or omissions while I was talking today, and so if people are commenting, please be kind. I'm just a little person. I'm not really an expert. I'm just a person who decided to stand up to the giants and do that on your behalf. And I might have made a mistake. And if there's a mistake, we'll correct it in the comments section. Fair enough? Fair enough. Anyway, thanks for dropping in tonight, Emily. And I'm going to pause the recording. And I have a closing for this session. So I'll just pause and say goodbye to you. Well, that was our first discussion that we had. I hope I didn't ramble too much. I'm going to post links to sources and documents that you can use that can be helpful. You can feel free to contact me via my website, which you will find right away. We'll see you next time.